Hello and welcome to another video from Star Tre Toys, Games, Collectibles. And today, well, we're looking at something that's a little bit different. We're looking at something that's now quite old, is very collectible in any condition, and is becoming increasingly more difficult to find again in any condition. We are looking at the 1996 release by Schiffer from their series of collectible books. And this particular item we're looking at today is of their Trekker's Guide to Collectibles, which is all the collectibles and merchandise that have been released for the franchise known as Star Trek. Now, Star Trek is an American science fiction media franchise. It was created by Gene Roddenberry, which began with a series of the same name, and it became a worldwide pop culture phenomenon. Now, since its creation, the franchise has expanded into various films, television series, videos, games, novels, comic books, and so on. And it has become one of the most recognisable and highest grossing media franchises of all time. Now, the franchise began with Star Trek, the original series, which premiered on September 6, 1966. And it debuted in the USA on September the 8th, 1966 on the NBC network. And his series followed the voyages of the crew of the starship USS Enterprise, which was a space exploration vessel built by the United Federations of Planets in the 23rd century, and is on a mission to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilizations, and to boldly go where no man has gone before, as the opening titles told you so. Now, in creating Star Trek, Roddenberry was inspired by C.S. Foster's Horatio Hornblower series of novels, also Gulliver's Travels and the 1956 movie The Forbidden Planet, and television such as Wagon Train, space westerns basically what he was aiming for. Now, Star Trek canon includes the original series, several subsequent television series, and a film franchise. Further adaptations also exist in expanded media. After the finish of the Star Trek original series, the adventures of its characters continued in Star Trek the animated series, and then 6 feature films. A television revival began in the late 1980s and concluding in the mid-2000s saw 4 spin-off series: Star Trek Next Generation, following the crew of a new Starship Enterprise a century after the original series; Deep Space Nine and Voyager, both set in the same era as Star Trek Next Generation. And then, of course, there was Star Trek Enterprise, which was set a century before the original series in the early days of human interstellar travel. So, the adventures of the Next Generation crew continued in 4 additional feature films. And in 2009, the film franchise underwent a reboot, creating an alternative continuity known as the Kelvin timeline. Now, 3 films have been set in this continuity. The most recent, Star Trek Arrival, began streaming on digital platforms in 2017, with series set at various points in the original continuity. Star Trek Discovery, Strange New Worlds, Short Treks, Picard, Lower Decks, and Prodigy are just a number of different Star Trek media and television series that have gone to date. Now, the book we're looking at today doesn't cover all of the series, obviously, because this was released in 1996. So it only goes up to 1996, so it will include Star Trek the original series, Star Trek the animated series, Star Trek the Next Generation, Star Trek Deep Space Nine, Star Trek Voyager, and movies up to and including First Contact, I believe. Anyway, this is the book in front of us. So it says, A Trekker's Guide to Collectibles with Values. And you've got some images of some of the collectibles that are around. So there's a phaser there, Next Generation phaser. There's the lunchbox and the flask, jigsaw puzzles, the figure set, and Star Trek maps and so on. It says a Schiffer book for collectors. So let's turn the book over to the back. And on the back, again, we've got some images of some more collectors. And it says, A Trekker's Guide to Collectibles with Values, Jeffrey B. Snyder. In 1966, Star Trek celebrated its 30th anniversary today, Star Trek is a multi-million-dollar juggernaut with 3 spin-off series and 7 movies in the name to date. So remember, this was 1996. The mountain of collectibles Star Trek has left in its wake is large enough to be detected on ship sensors light years away. This book celebrates that 30-year odyssey. Exactly how Star Trek managed to go from the TV oblivion of cancellation within 3 years of its 1966 introduction to multimedia stardom in over 75 nations are covered here in detail. Boldly chronicled as well in both text and over 490 colour photographs are many of the collectibles available today, from action figures and comics to phasers and Saurian Brandy bottles. The collectibles are grouped by series, allowing collectors of all ages to go directly to the Star Trek series they love best, be it the original series, The Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, or the most recent Voyager. Brief synopsis of each series and film chronicling their plots and casts are included as well. Prices, nearly 37,000 of them, are found throughout the book, with the collectibles listings as useful tools for every collector. Jeffrey B. Snyder is a writer and editor living with his growing family in southeastern Pennsylvania. Mr. Snyder grew up with Star Trek, keeping track of its progress across the galaxy from his teenage years onwards. To date, he is the author of 7 books. Okay, now bear in mind this was 1996, so the prices are going to be out of date, and there's a lot more merchandise that have been released since then. So, but again, there's images of other merchandise that's been released. The Star Trek badges, the micro machines, the gold-plated micro machines, and the other items there. Okay, quick look at the spline. It says Snyder, A Trekker's Guide to Collectibles, and the Schiffer logo at the side there. Okay, that's the covers. I'm eager to get inside this, so let's open it up and see what we got. Okay, so I've opened the front cover, and this is what it's got inside. Other books from Schiffer Publishing, Collecting the Space Race, Pez Collectibles, Russian wristwatches, pocket watches, stopwatches, onboard clock and chronometers, Hot Wheels, A Collector's Guide, Home Packing, Cassidy King of the Cowboy Merchandising, Baby Boomer Toys and Collectibles, Board Games, Leslie Matchbox Toys, Regular Wheel Years 47-69, and Leslie Matchbox Toys, the Superfast Years 69 to 82. And those are all other books that were available at the time. Okay, but this one, A Trekker's Guide Collectible with Values, Jeffrey B. Snyder, and there is the poster for Generations, and you've got the publisher's address there, 77 Valley Road, Akron, Pennsylvania, 1985110. Dedications. The book is neither authorised nor approved by Paramount Pictures Corporation, interestingly enough, but it is copyright 1996 by Schiffer Publishing, all rights reserved, and so on. And the acknowledgements. I wish to express my heartfelt gratitude to all the people who made this book possible. Collectors and dealers generously allow me to photograph their collections. When necessary, I will spend it into their homes and places of business with my tangle of photographic equipment. They made the photographs for this book possible and were generous with their knowledge, stories and advice as well. I offer my thanks to John E. Balbach, Bob Hoag, Jeff Maynard, New Eve Studio, along with Jill Dazinski and Kate Burning, Mark A. Schneider, Michael W. Snyder, and Sherry L. Snyder. And special thanks to the men and women of the space program, real heroes blazing the trail of the stars for all humanity. May we have the foresight to continue to support you and your efforts. Okay, and we've got a table of contents here, which is Chapter 1, Science Fiction, Science and the Road to the 23rd Century. We've got Chapter 2, Details in Life of the 23rd Century and Beyond. Chapter 3, Star Trek The Collectibles. So we've got Star Trek Next Generation, Star Trek Deep Space Nine, Star Trek Voyager, and the crossover products. So there's a lot of products in this book. Introduction. Now, it says, on the big screen or small, Star Trek has a gravitational force that reliably pulls in the audience. The movies and TV shows reassure us that there will be a future and that it will be fun if you don't mind a couple of pesky Klingons in the passing lane. There remain among us many still who are unmoved by what Gotham called the best part of man. These, the incurious and uninspired in the face of the unknown, remain even now in the condition of those pre-human apes who are concerned only with economics, sociology and politics, hurtling bricks at each other and licking their own wounds. Okay, so a brief introduction here to Star Trek. In the early 1960s, science fiction genre was scorned by most television and movie directors, their critics and most of the viewing public. Television network executives considered sci-fi the stuff of children's programs. Equally unappreciated drama had withered and died on television's vine. All 13 of the series anthology shows which had been available to the networks were dropped by 1965 in favour of family-orientated programs. So in the early 1960s, when former police officer turned scriptwriter Eugene Roddenberry tried to sell the networks on a series, a dramatic adult series dealing with socially relevant issues cloaked in the trappings of science fiction, the networks were sceptical at best. Star Trek concept, a 1-hour serial science fiction show for adults with continuing characters except for the red-shirted security guards who came and went in alarming numbers, was a new one. The original episodes were often allegories for real-world problems facing society in the 1960s, from the Vietnam War to the race relations. The problem were to be solved with reason rather than violence by the crew of a United Federation of Planet Starship. The episodes presented an optimistic and exciting view of the human future. For the networks, Gene Roddenberry built Star Trek as a wagon train to the stars. He kept the show affordable by taking his starship's crew primarily to M-class planets similar to Earth and Mars, but always featuring shirt sleeves, working environments, and by creating inexpensive, reusable special effects. And there's the image of the USS Enterprise NCC 1701 moving at warp speed, courtesy of the collection of Jeff Maynard, New Eye Studio. And there again follows on the history of the original series, which I'm not going to read it all, so we're going to be here for hours if we do. And some end notes there as well. Again, images of items that have appeared and some stills from the TV series. Chapter 1, Science Fiction, Science, the Road to 23rd Century. Science fiction pretends to look into the future, but it's really looking at a reflection of the truth immediately in front of us. How was it possible to offer up a low-budget science fiction series in 1966, lose it to cancellation in 3 seasons' time, and have that very same show go on to become a highly profitable, international known multimedia hit, a cultural icon spinning off sequels, toy lines and collectibles of all sorts, decades after the first episode was aired? The answer lies in a tangled web of science fiction storytelling, real-world technical advancements and social change, mass media entertainment and current events. Okay, so that gives you a background into the whole of Star Trek. And again, there's images there. There's images of Star Wars there, which was a 20th Century Fox poster from the soundtrack album 1977. And there we have all I need to know about life I learned from Star Trek. I used to have one of those posters on my wall, or well, on my bedroom door in actual fact it was. And then we have the birth and effect of Star Trek. Star Trek first aired in a confusing and turbulent times. The idealistic stories presented by a diverse cast, peppered with morals of anti-violence themes, were an appealing alternative to daily events for those who enjoyed the show between 66 and 69. And there's an image of the Journey to Babel episode. And then we have the blueprints of the Starship Enterprise, the video cover for the Cage and Spock and Kirk from the original series, early on in the original series. Chapter 2 details life in the 23rd century and beyond. We're living in a science fiction time. We're swimming in an ocean of technology, and that's why Star Trek, Star Wars, and 90% of the most successful films of the last 10 years are science fiction, and that's by Ray Bradbury. Star Trek 1966-69, a small screen. And there's some images here from the original television series. So we got from a piece of the action, the Trouble with Tribbles, and we've got, well, from one of the episodes there, and there's an image of Shatner and Leonard Nimoy, out of characters, of course. Again, images of the from the TV series, Klingons there, and the original crew. I think that's from Day of the Dove. Again, a video cover, Balance of Terror. And then we got the cast on the big screen, and there is Lieutenant Savok, as played by Kirstie Alley, the first one. Movie poster, The Wrath of Khan. And then we're into Star Trek: The Next Generation, Dr. Beverly Crusher, and the USS Enterprise, and the Generations movie poster. And we've got Deep Space Nine, Voyager. Okay, so it doesn't go as far as First Contact. It stopped before First Contact actually came out by the looks of things. Okay, Chapter 3, Star Trek, The Collectibles. And now we've got pages and pages of collectibles here. There's the Franklin Mint Starship Enterprise. For those of you that watch our videos regularly, you know that we have actually done a video on that particular model. And there's some of the other books available there. And again, the Playmates tricorders that have been available over the course of the time. The Playmates figure set and the classic Star Trek, the box set that contained all of the action figures on the bridge background. And then we have the original series figures. So the original ones were the 5 faces, and these ones are all 6 faces by the looks of things here. Yeah, so these aren't the first releases. These look like the second releases because they are the 6 face cards. And the original ones were only 5 faces. So, as I say, not the first release, but these are the second release of the figures. I think the first one, I don't think the first one included, I can't remember which one was missing from the first one. I think it was Lieutenant Uhura, which wasn't on the first one. And there was, of course, the Aliens release, and those ones are extremely collectible these days. In fact, all of them are. And again, there's the Aliens, Mego Alien ones. And then we come on to Playmates Collector Series. These are all the later figures from the 70s. These are the Mego ones from Star Trek, the motion picture. Again, all of them very, very collectible. Deckard seems to be missing from there. Again, I think those are the Playmates later release. Gives you all the value of these figures at the time in 1996. However, prices have changed dramatically since then. There's the ERTL figures as well from Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, the Knickerbocker figures, and again the small Mego figures at the top there, which were released again for Star Trek the motion picture. And then we've got the blueprints over here. There's a whole list of different items here, though, that you can read through. Not everything is photographed, but lots of the items are. And we're going to have to whiz through quite quickly because we're going to be here all day otherwise. There's the photo novels there as well. And as I say, those of you that watch our videos regularly, you know that we've done a few of the photo novels. Again, more books. There was a lot of book media has been released over the years. Memories of William Shatner, and again a box of blueprints, and there's a Schiffer Publishing Limited card that's still in there from brand new, and again there's calendars and things, and then there was the Hamilton collectible plates, more of the plates there, and then lots of the other merchandise like the saucers, the teapot, the cups, and the saucers and so on. The brass figures, the busts, the tankards, the disappearing transporter mugs and so on. The dioramas, the Christmas ornaments, t-shirts, coins, necklaces, Again, onto more books, the shirts that were released, the drawings, and then the video cassettes, board games, more books and so on, the role-playing games, another board game, glasses, tankards, books again, models, and I'm talking alarm clocks, telephones, the lunchbox and the flasks, the Saurian Brandy bottles, the knife and fork or spoon and fork set, the pins. Awful lot of pins were released over the years. Again, more books, magazines, model kits as well. Right, there's absolutely tons and tons of merchandise. Again, all these are model kits, right up to there, and then we've got the miniatures. So these are the 4-inch high figures, and then the pewter figures for the, I think they were chess set pieces, postcards, drawings, pictures, photographs, loads and loads of merchandise, all the movie posters, yep, all relating to the movies, and then obviously the original series, the Playmates collectibles, so the phasers, the communicators, again more books, jigsaw puzzles now, records, quite a lot of vinyl records there, and CDs and so on, and then comics, and then we've got the early Mego communicators, the Star Trek phaser gun, phaser game, the tricorder, original tricorder that is, the Mego version, and then we've got the Playmates versions there, the Mego play set, and you can see the figures there as well, the Control Spaceflight game, again you've got model kits, the Dinky toys, the Playmates models, the Space Design Centers, the ERTL figures again. This is for the next generation now, and then we got all the Playmates figures for the next generation, the Space Talk series, the 12-inch series of figures, quite a lot of these, incredible figures, a lot of these, and then there's again all the books, the technical books, the Hamilton collectible plates, the mugs, the t-shirts, the games, the makeup kits, the uniforms, the computer games, the what do you call it, the, I can't think what that's called, but it was the data computer, the birthday cards, the models, the lunch boxes, the plastic cups, the pins, the the sounds key rings, the watches, again the model kits. And let's just have a look. That says $54.95, $54.95. That was the Timex Innuendo USS Enterprise D-Roch, courtesy of the collection of Jeff Maynard. There we are. Shows you what the value was then. Again, model kits and the miniature models, the pewter figures, the photographs again, the blueprints, generations poster, jigsaw puzzles, and so on. Again, the walkie-talkies, records, the phasers, the Playmates phasers and communicators, the play sets, the phasers and things that opened up into play sets, the Klingon disruptors, again they're the miniature play sets, and you've got the large play sets there, the bridge play set. Again, you've got the engineering play set and from Star Trek Generations, the Playmates model kits, or the models I should say, which is all the Enterprise there, different versions of the Enterprise, and the shuttlecraft, the Klingon attack cruiser, the Klingon bird of prey, the Romulan warbird, and so on. And then, of course, you've got the inner space set, which opens up with the play sets inside, the micro machines, the trading cards. Yes, of course, there was bundles and bundles of trading cards released as well. All different sets. And then we come on to Deep Space Nine. And then we've got, obviously, Star Trek Next Generation Panini sticker sets, the customised card games, the DS9 figures, and the 12-inch figures, and the mugs, clothing, accessories, comics, and so on, and the shirts, and the caffeine, the cafe centre, the space station, the runabout, the pins again, the figures, the ships, the space station, and more trading cards, books and so on, the chronology, figure sets, mugs again, and ceramics, the micro machines, and there we have it. And then we're up to the bibliography, whatever that's supposed to mean. So there we have it. That is the guide to collectibles from 1996. Now, as I say, it is a little bit out of date because we are almost 30 years on from them, because this was for the 30th anniversary. We're now approaching the 60th anniversary of Star Trek. So, but this is collectibles from the first 30 years of the franchise. So, question, how well did this book do back in the day? Well, it done remarkably well, surprisingly enough. Well, it's not surprisingly enough, really, because it does go into detail on all of the collectibles that were, I'd say 95% of the collectibles that were available up to that point. It doesn't actually show absolutely everything. There are some items that I remember that's not in the book, but most of the items, or the memorable items that were released, are shown in this book up until 1996. So very popular, I believe, and anyone that was a collector of merchandise or Star Trek merchandise at the time would have bought this book. So yes, I believe it would have done very well. Okay, so let's move forward almost 30 years to 2025, which is where we are today. Do these books come up for sale very often on platforms? And really the answer to that is no. I did have a look on the platforms. I think I found one or two others that were available on the platforms, various different states of condition, but not a great deal. Obviously, it's 30 years old now, this book, and a lot of the merchandise is 30 years out of date. So prices, obviously, are going to be a lot higher than what's shown in this book. In most cases, some items will be the same prices, or maybe even lower, depending on what it is, because sometimes the prices dip. But things like figures and most of the collectibles, they only go one way, they go up in value, especially if they're still mint and sealed in the original packaging. So yes, there are a few available on the platforms, not a great deal, and I'd imagine they'd sell quite quickly because it is quite a good collectible book and does contain a lot of great information based around Star Trek. And really 1996, I mean the internet was very much in its infancy. We hadn't seen a lot of things available through the internet at that time. It was still very, very young. So a lot of the merchandise that you can find now on the platforms or on the internet, you couldn't back then. I think the only thing, eBay might have just been launched back in 1996, but there was very little else. Most companies didn't have online sales. Most companies didn't even have websites back in 1996. It was all very, very new. It wasn't really until the early 2000s when things started to take off on the internet. So very, very time when merchandise wasn't readily available to everybody. And this book was something that gave you that inspiration to say, well, this stuff is available, so we can go and find it somewhere, somehow it will be available. So yeah, terrific book. And as I say, to coin a phrase, when you are looking at buying on the internet, be careful. Somebody's idea, very good condition. Somebody else's idea, acceptable condition. Do have a good look at the item. Read the description and look at the images just to make sure it is what you actually want. And some of the platforms use stock images, stock descriptions, blah, blah, blah. So if it doesn't say new, it says used, click that used link and read what you're about to order to stop any disappointment when the item arrives. Now, alternatively, you don't need to go for any rigmarole. You can come straight to us at Midas Touch Toys Games Collectibles, where what you see in front of you is exactly the item you'd receive should you wish to order. And this particular item, as of today, it is available to purchase on the Midas Touch website. Now, we only have a couple of copies of this book. Now, this book was a former toy and comic book shop book. Now, there is a little bit of wear on it, obviously, because it is 30 years old around the corners where it's been on a shelf. But generally inside, it's mint and it's got all the information that you could possibly need. But I say we've got a couple of these which are available to purchase on the Midas Touch website, which you can get to very simply by clicking the link below. It'll take you straight to the website where you'll be able to find this and many, many other vintage Star Trek items. And many other vintage toys, games and collectibles come to that. There's over 10,000 products currently available on the website for you to view and purchase at your leisure. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button, because we're uploading videos for every new item that goes into the website. There will be something for everybody, and I'm absolutely positive this is something that you're not going to want to miss, because we literally have thousands and thousands of new items which we're shooting videos for and uploading on a daily basis. So if there is something in particular you're looking for, something old you've never been able to find, something quirky you might want to buy for a friend, or perhaps just something from your childhood that you'd like to own again to help you recuperate those long lost childhood memories, stay tuned, keep watching, because you never know the next item we upload could be that item you've been looking for. Okay, that is it for me on this particular item. I do hope you've enjoyed reviewing this wonderful, wonderful vintage Trekker's Guide to Collectibles book with me. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you again next video. So bye for now.